Hello, Leo friends. This is Jill with the Healing Moon Tarot, and today we're going to do your 18 general reading. Last month, your oracle card was Empowerment. I have to look that up because I never remember. As soon as I do a reading, it's gone out of my head forever. So I'm just curious if empowerment showed up for you at all. Did you experience empowerment? Did you experience ways to feel more secure, self-assured? Was it just a month that went well for you, that had you feeling good and feeling like you might have some kind of semblance of control over this crazy thing we call life? And this month, we are going to pull this card right here. Make a decision. So pretty. All right. So do you have a decision to make coming up? Is there something that's been weighing on you? Is there something you need to really sit down and be decisive about in the month of October? Let's get some more cards pulled and see how they play into that. We're going to start with a card for your mental space. It's the Sun card. To me, that is also a card of empowerment, and talking about last month's card of feeling very good in your space, feeling like the sun is shining on you, feeling that like a joyful wholeness is what I really get from the sun. Mentally, you may be in that place where you're like, I can do no wrong right now. And I really feel like things are coming out in the best interest. So that's a super exciting card to have. If you are not feeling that way mentally, or you're not yet feeling that way mentally, going into, I would definitely just consider those energies. In what ways can I be more myself, feel whole, feel joyful, and enjoy life, and feel confident in the decisions that I'm making? Just because, I'm not trying to be a fortune teller here. In case you're new, I like to talk about the cards in ways that help you identify when these energies in your life and have you already hear my perspective on them, so you can take and use your own judgment, your own perspective, and say, okay, if this is coming in, what are ways for me to deal with this or look at this? And it's kind of like having someone else's opinion or hearing someone else's perspective on a situation, so you can better judge your situation, if that makes sense. So if this isn't ringing true for you yet, I would just think about that energy and say, how could this be playing in my life if I approach things in a different way? So let's pull a card for your physical space this month. Strength. Ooh, major arcanas in a row. Again, this card contains a lot of confidence, a lot of self-assuredness. This strength here is she doesn't have to beat this lion into submission. She doesn't have to try to control it or rein it. She is just so secure and comes from such a pure place that she's able to confidently take control of the situation, but in such a way that it's not like I have to beat this into submission, if that makes sense. So in your physical space, this should be you feeling very secure in your body, very secure in being able to handle anything that's coming your way. Let's pull a card for your emotional space. And I was just thinking about this, looking at these cards. You just purely have to make the decision to feel this way. have the Two of Coins coming out for your emotional space. This is a card of flexibility. Yeah, I see him as a juggler, making it work. He's keeping them going. And these ships in the background dealing with this wavy weather, they're going with the flow and dealing with the things that come their way and the uncontrollable circumstances that they be placed in. And making a decision to encompass these kind of energy be really important this month. So if you're not feeling these energies, you just have to simply make the choice to allow them space in your life. Allow space to feel confident and to feel good where you are, to see things in a positive light. The decision to be confident and strong and pull from your inner strength in your physical world, and to be able to stand tall wherever you are, and making the decision to go with the flow and to multitask and be able to keep the things that you choose to have in your life. Like, okay, I'm making the choice to deal with these things, and I have to make the choice to understand I can't control everything, and I have to be able to roll with the punches, and I have to be willing and able to know that not everything sticks to an exact plan, and the road isn't always smooth. And emotionally, that would be some relationships you're dealing with, or your own emotional ties to certain things in your life. And these are all really positive cards so far. Let's see. Let's pull a card for your spiritual space. Seven of Cups. This this card always talks about indecision at first. That's the first word that comes to mind. And I always see this card like a vending machine, and this person's going, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And there's some kind of crazy options in here. Like this one, you can't even see what it is. This one's a snake, a dragon, a wreath, looks like jewels. Like the cups speaking about our emotional attachments and our emotional connections. So spiritually speaking, this may be taking a larger look at how you connect to your body, how you connect to your spirituality, how you connect to your religion, whatever, however the word spiritual works in your life. Adjusting, how do I say that? Not necessarily readjusting, but pulling your perspective back and looking at other ways to experience your spirituality, and better gauging what works for you and what doesn't, what's for you and what is not, what you're truly attached to and what you're not, those types of things. And again, making a decision. It's like all of these options, what choice am I going to make, is going to, I think all in all, this all comes back to you being in control of the decisions you make every day, you being in control over your perspective on the energies in your life. And if these show up, how am I going to react? How do I feel about these kind of energies? How do I possess these in life? Awesome. All right, what I'm going to do is pause the video and we are going to pull some more cards. I just need to move some things around. Sorry, the camera got bumped and now I feel like it's all wonky. All right. Now for the second half of your reading, what we're going to do is I grabbed another deck of cards and we're going to pull some more. We're going to start with conflict or problem you face. Challenge is a good word for this card. And we have the Three of Swords, which is simply hurt feelings. This card's been coming out a lot lately. I feel a lot of people are kind of in this phase, at least personally what I'm experiencing is a lot of people having a willingness to confront old emotional baggage and attachment and trying to mature themselves in those attachments and dealing with what actually hurts my feelings, What's something I should take personal? Why should I carry this stuff around with me? How do I let it go? How do I deal with hurt feelings? And Leo, a lot of times, this is also, how do I deal with hurting other people's feelings? How am I hurting people? How am I making the people around me feel? So this coming out as a challenge card, I would take some time and say, what did I think of as soon as Jill said hurt feelings? Was it a specific situation, a specific person, your feelings hurt, or you hurting somebody else? And ask yourself more questions. Say, what is my attachment to that? Why are my feelings hurt? Why am I taking this situation personally? Why can't I let this go? Those kinds of questions lead yourself into a conversation, some dialogue about those emotions, and be decisive in how you're dealing with them. Be decisive in, okay, that is not mine anymore. I'm going to let it go. Or, and sometimes you just hurt people's feelings. There's no bad intent there. And you got to remember, coming back to you, just because your feelings got hurt does not mean the other person intended to do that. So if you're feeling very hurt by someone, I would try to dissect. And of course, it's impossible to know exactly why or how things happen, but at least look, and I'm not telling you to create justifications for other people, but try to look at the big picture, because a lot of times we're too close to a situation. We need to pull ourselves back and say, okay, what's a wider viewpoint here? How can I be more understanding of the other person's intentions? And how can I deal with my feelings being hurt is my responsibility. My reaction to others is my responsibility. So how do I deal with this? Let's pull a card for your strength this month, something, a part of yourself you could utilize to deal with any of these situations you have coming up. That one is just because I dropped it. We have the Death card and the Seven of Wands. So the Death card is all about allowing finality, allowing things to come to an end so a new cycle can start. Really coming to the idea of that part of me is gone. I personally relate heavily with this card. I'm a Scorpio, so this is a card to begin with, a Scorpio sun anyway. And I can tell you I am close to years old, in case you cared. And I feel like I have lived multiple lives within years, because such drastic things have happened at certain points that totally redirected how life was going, how I thought, how I felt, how I behaved. Some very dramatic shifts in my life where I felt like Jill died and a new Jill was created and had a whole new life and a whole new world. You have not experienced it to that extent. All of us go through these things where we cycle certain behaviors or certain ideals or certain whatever. So this coming out in your strengths area is asking questions about, do I allow things to come to an end so I can create something new? Am I willing to say, if I keep doing the same thing over and over again, I'm just going to keep having the same life. So I'm going to make some drastic changes, and I'll create an end, a death of certain things or certain behaviors or certain thought patterns or certain whatever, and allow something new to begin. The Seven of Wands, he's obviously in a defensive mode, but he's not willing, he's not giving up. He looks like he's in a place of power with how he's situated within the card. He is above the attack. He has the higher ground. He has the higher hand, whatever, however you want to see that. But to me, this card always talks about being willing to stand for your boundaries, but not looking to attack others. and being very mindful of this is my space, these are my boundaries. What other people do outside of those boundaries is none of my business. But if they come with boundaries, there are certain things I'm willing to stand for and fight for within space. And don't cross the boundary because I will defend myself kind of energy. So these two coming together in your strength space, I would just take inventory on some of these cycles in life. Is there something that needs to end? Is there something that you need to allow to come to completion and to pull on your strength of being willing to do that? And also, are you willing to stand for things that are right? And are you willing to take a defensive mode then rather than an offensive mode? Are you willing to not be on the front lines, but just say, these are my boundaries and I'm going to go hang out with the boundaries. But if you cross them, that I will stand up then. But if it's outside of your boundaries, leaving it alone kind of stuff. And with this coming as a challenge, the strengths, calling on these strengths, maybe allowing the end of some of this attachment to hurt feelings, or be willing to say, yeah, that person's behaving in XYZ and I don't like that, but if it's not with the boundaries, I'm not going to take it personal. I'm not going to allow it to hurt me. That it's not business kind of thing. Let's pull some cards for need to know. There's some energies you need to know about this month and maybe spend a little more time learning about. I have the Lovers and the Four of Cups. Make a decision, and to me, the Lovers card is all about decisions and choices. Making the choice every day. I've been in a long-term relationship, and to me, real love is an unconditional love of each other, regardless of any of this kind of stuff. But willing to make the choice every single day. And this coming out in your emotional space, this going with the flow, being flexible. When you truly commit to someone and you understand what unconditional love is, and choosing to accept every single part of them and choosing to love them regardless of their behaviors, regardless of their actions, regardless if you're with them or not with them. And it's just this, to me, it's a conscious decision every day. I'm going to choose this. And we have the Four of Cups coming here. And I always feel like this person, they're sitting here with their 3 cups. They're not turned over. They're not broken or anything. He's on top of them. So he knows they belong to him. And this is coming in hot, all shiny and glamorous. And he is not paying any attention to it. So I always kind of take this card 2 ways. For one, it could be a pause. And it could be a healthy pause for you to not pay attention to this stuff. And to just get very comfortable with the emotional attachments or relationships you already have. Or it could tell you to, hey, lift your head, pay attention. There are some authentic relationship possibilities coming your way if you're willing to see them. These coming out together with your main card of make a decision. I feel like you need to have some really mindful and direct conversations with yourself about, am I willing to love unconditionally? Am I willing to connect on that level? Am I willing to see the potential for connection? Am I willing to make the choices necessary to facilitate these relationships? And how will that affect life? And how does that make me feel? How has the stomach been tight or excited while I've been talking about, those kinds of things? Listen to your body. listen to what's going on internally when I started talking about when the Lover's card came up. Was that exciting to you? Did that sound like a good thing, or was that a scary thing to you? So regardless of where you are on the spectrum, these are just coming out as a need to know. You need to know more information about your relationship with these energies. Do you cut yourself off and become very consumed with what you already have? Are you open to having new relationships come into your life? And I'm not just talking about a lover. I'm talking about any kind of relationship. And are you willing to make the choices necessary to facilitate such a relationship? Now let's end with suggestion cards. And I'm sorry, my road has just gotten loud this morning. I don't know what's going on out there. We have the Ten of Swords and the Hierophant. We have another ending card. These two speak volumes of the same kind of general energy. But with this coming out as the Swords in your suggestion, I think this is going to have a lot to do with your thought processes. Let me take a drink quick. I feel like this needs to come to completion, obviously. This getting to an ending of, okay, I'm done with that. This can't continue anymore. I can't beat it to death anymore. With the Hierophant coming next to that, it may be very necessary for you to seek counsel from someone else. The Hierophant shows two, he looks like a religious leader and these look like the followers, right? So this in general talks of some kind of institution, something, it could be school, it could be some kind of leader, teacher, institution, whether it be a church, spiritual center, somewhere where you have the ability to learn from someone who's been doing this thing a long time. It could even be a counselor. It could also be a friend that you truly trust to impart good perspective to you and be willing to tell you, hold you a little bit accountable. I always feel like that's part of it. Like with school, you get a grade. With church, a lot of religions, confession, those kinds of things come into play of being held accountable in some way, shape, or form for your actions and choices here. So do not be afraid to seek counsel for whatever this stuff is that you keep kind of beating yourself up about, or the attachments that you have, and it may very well go back to this hurt feelings, making the decision to see things in a positive light, making the decision to be flexible, making the decision to adjust how you're seeing your own strengths as a human. All of this is going to come back down to you and your perspective on the situation. But sometimes you need somebody to go, hey, oh, and I bumped the camera. Hey, I see that you need some help. Let's chat. Or here's my advice. Or you're screwing up right now. Like, get it together. So those coming out in your suggestion cards, I feel you already know what you probably should do, and I am not going to change your mind. It's all going to come down to you making the choices necessary that are going to facilitate the help that you need in your life. Oh, this was a really fun reading. I appreciate you spending time with me today. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, I'd absolutely love to hear from you. My other social medias will be in the description box, and the comment section is always there, of course. If you would like to see me again, remember to hit the subscribe button and throw me a thumbs up if you resonated with this. I appreciate your time very much. I hope you have an amazing month of October, and I look forward to hearing from you. Be well.